Hello and welcome to our coverage of Love is Blind. We are here to wrap it up. Wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen.
I could have guessed.
Do you get it? You get it? Because condoms.
Get it, Rick?
Oh,
Get
God.
it?
Marissa, did you hear me?
No. It's about condoms
No one-
and how
no
you
one's-
didn't want to wear them.
No one's laughing. No one's laughing. Why is no one laughing?
Maybe I'll say it one more time. And then you'll get it.
Second or third time's the charm on that
Right.
joke.
Oh, I'm Aysha. We're here to talk about Love is Blind Season 7 reunion. As always, I'm here with my two co-hosts to talk about this amazing season. Well, that's a stretch, actually. This season of Love is Blind. First up, we have Jason Reed. Jason, how are you?
Asia, I'm doing great. I just regret that we're so far away. We're in these little boxes. No one can pass their drink over to me, so I can take a swig out and then hand it back to you. I'm good. We're here to. We're at the finish line. We made it. We're. Sometimes I never thought it would end, but here we are.
Look, we have only covered this show for what, 4 weeks? That's not that bad.
It seems like 14. Honestly, it really does.
Also here, of course, is the amazing Mary Kwiatkowski. Mary, so glad to have you back this week.
Yep. I took a little private vacation and
Were you in Miami?
I was not in Miami. No, as Asia mentioned last time, yeah, I had a massive migraine and I was unable to help record after I was spent 65 hours being awake. And so it didn't happen. Even though I did bring my travel microphone with me and everything. I had very high hopes. I was like, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna record. It's gonna be so good. And then it just did not come together. But let me say, it was very fun to be able to just listen to the podcast last week. That was very enjoyable for myself. But yeah, we're back, and I was watching the reunion, thinking, wow, I haven't talked about these people in a little while, and I've got some thoughts. And then on the other hand, it is nice to be over with this season. Not because the season was like particularly bad, but just, you know what? It's like we did it. It was fun. We've reached its point, and I'm ready to move on to the next thing.
Look, it was a typical Love is Blind season. We are at that point where season 1 is no longer a typical Love is Blind. That's the exception. This is the general outcome. 1 to 2 couples married, and then just mess.
Love is Blind is long in the tooth now, right? We're in season 7. Season 8 is coming soon.
The announcement.
Yeah.
They were ready to move on to the next one.
So much so that they had 3 people in the audience. That's brand new.
They didn't even pretend to not want us to know who is getting out of the pods. They're just like, here's 3 of them right there. Like, spoiler alert, they get out of the pods.
The craziest thing they could ever do would have one of those people like not even really be on the show. Like be on the show, but like not be on
part of the pod squad.
Right, pod squad.
Yeah.
And we see this and we're like, who's Joey? I don't remember meeting Joey. And only one of them even got to speak.
Yeah.
And he was like a AI robot sent from Netflix. He just said the exact right boilerplate responses. I just prioritize so much more over my dating life, and I just want someone to share my life with. I am so busy. It's a small town. Like, okay, we didn't even need this. Like, cut it. Like, I don't care about many other people from the Love is Blind universe. I don't know why they were there to give us no real update. Why am I hearing that Nancy tell me she got a new job in a new city?
And she's not single, but her boyfriend didn't want to be on camera, so we never even saw him.
That was freaking rampant, right? Why does no one want to talk about their relationship on this relationship show?
Why was AD there being like, yep, I'm not single, don't want to talk about it?
Why? Season 3.
Why are we here? What was the update?
This blew my mind, right? AD and Marshall are sitting on the love seat this far apart from each other. And I'm thinking, are they about to announce that they're together?
That's thought.
And nope, there's AD's like, there's a special someone, and Marshall looks at her like, oh, we're going to announce it now. We're going to do the thing, and she's like, but that's going to be private, so it's not Marshall. And I'm like, what? Like,
I mean, if you're on social media, you know who AD's special person is.
Then why are they not being mentioned on the show?
Who is it?
Because that would be a spoiler for Perfect Match season 3.
Then
Oh,
let me ask you this. Why are Nick and Vanessa trying to fill dead air? If they know that AD can't talk about it,
Right.
What are we doing?
Why did Nick and Vanessa do anything? That's my
Why
question.
do
On
they
this.
not know anything about their own show? Also,
We have so many questions. These are all questions that need answers.
Sorry,
Getting
I
ahead of
feel
ourselves.
like
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
I can already see the comments typing away. If y'all hate the show so much, why are you talking about it? We don't hate the show. We're
I
just
don't hate the show.
We're
We hate
frustrated.
better.
It's the end.
We hate aspects of the show. We don't hate the whole show.
There's perfect love.
Look, if you're here, we appreciate y'all. We have lots of thoughts, clearly, because we were just spitting them out.
Spewing them for our mouths.
Make sure you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed, where you can get all of our coverage of Love is Blind, Jason and I's coverage of Married at First Sight. Mari is joining us throughout the season, this season as well. So just go make sure you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed. That's where you can get all of these coverage of these unconventional dating shows. But yes,
exactly.
No, I know. Listen, I wasn't big on this season as a whole, but I was entertained by this reunion.
Yeah, I think Asia was the highest on the reunion. Out of a bit. I mean, there were a couple moments that I appreciated, and then there were times where I found myself like Garrett being like, why are we doing this? Why are we just when something devolves into just a screaming match between two people where they clearly don't see eye to eye. Like, yes, I'm sure Jason, you loved it. It was probably the drama there. But for me, I'm just like, look, if you're not telling me that you're going to either make up, apologize, or continue being friends, then actually I don't care if you fight.
Yeah, I think
nothing for me.
I think the reunion was much like the season as a whole. There were some really standout moments that reminded me why I watched this show, reminded me of some of the great moments, some high highs. And then there are parts where just like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, what is happening here? This was an hour and a half.
Well, yes. When I started and I saw that 1 hour and 36 minutes or whatever it was, I was like, oh, yes. I'm not finishing this tonight.
Exactly. So that was like, okay, I wonder if we're going to get into some good stuff. But then we spend so much time checking in with people that don't matter to anything and don't have anything real to say.
Was this better? Because was it last season or the season before where they had so many past couples? Like, I feel like they lightened the load a little bit. There were less extra. Yes, we were still extra, but it wasn't like every couple from the past couple seasons.
But at least with those, we had couple updates, right? We were able to like make sure they were still going strong. They were doing this, doing that.
Zack and Bliss were the only couple update we got. Like, in the nicest way. If I want to know what's going on with a person who has remained single, I will follow them on their Instagram. Is anyone like, yeah, I really wanted to know what Marshall was up to single by himself, unless he's dating someone from the show also.
I think
exactly.
I think they made such a big deal. See, because I'm just coming from the perspective of social media. It felt like they made such a big deal of Marshall getting engaged recently, and that now he's single. That was
but they didn't dive into that. They didn't dive into that.
I didn't know he was engaged.
Reba.
Was it with the person he met out like
yes.
in the Love is Blind, and they were dating afterwards?
It was this whole dramatic video of their proposal. He had this huge heart arch. It was all over social media. And then now they're broken up.
And now that you said that, I remember that, but it would have been important to let us know that.
Yeah, that would have been juicy if I knew any about that. But instead, I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was kind of like he said, I'm single. And it was kind of like read between the lines, but they didn't get into it.
Only the real ones know. Only the real ones that keep with Marshall know.
Let me posit this idea. If you're gonna bring single people back from the show and you want them to be like these recurring celebrity characters, then I need them to have watched the season and make interesting commentary or ask questions to the people on the season. If the reunion is about the season, have Jessica come in and like say, "Oh, I really identified with so and so," or whatever. Do that.
Did we need that update? Did we need to know that
You know what?
Jessica has now?
No, with the season 1, I will say, "Oh, geez, come back. I love you. Please come back."
Certain
No, the
OGs.
only ones I want to see, yeah, Cameron and Lauren, please.
Yeah.
Even I'll take even Amber and Burnett, but with
just to prove they still exist.
yeah,
they
life.
have.
They're pregnant now.
They're right. I was gonna say, actually, kind of surprised with how much that Nick and Vanessa loved the whole "Love Is Blind" babies thing, that they didn't bring them up.
I mean, isn't it? It was a thing that they were recently on a podcast with Cameron and Lauren and Amber and Barnett that like they're not on great terms. Is the vibe I got?
They're not on great terms with
the
show.
With the show.
Mm-hmm. But with Jessica, I was like, oh, this is a new update. No, she got married in 2022.
She got a whole ass baby.
Yeah, what? Just so funny. Like, why are y'all just like? They're like, oh, who could we bring?
But I'm pretty sure during the season 1, like, I don't know if it was during the reunion or the year later or 2 year later or whatever the scenario was, I'm pretty sure that she had said that she was like dating someone or engaged or something at that point. Like, I think we knew this.
Wasn't that before COVID? They met during COVID. So this,
yeah,
I think this is a different person.
Right. Well, but the like 2 year, remember like for season 1, they did like a 2 year later or like, or was it 1 year, like happy anniversary or something party?
Yeah, it was like 2 years.
Anyway,
I saw them in the audience and I was literally like, who are those people? Who is that couple? And then like, it's Jessica from season 1. I was like, is it? I was like, really? Oh, okay. Time. I guess so.
Well, I mean, we find out what that was the eye opener to me was when they were like, when they announced season 8 with that it's in Minneapolis, they're like, it's going to be the 5-year anniversary. Why do I feel like this show has been on for 10 years?
Because there's 8 seasons.
Because one of those years was 2020. That's why.
Yeah.
The longest year ever.
5. That's wild. So yeah, I guess it's been like 5 years since we've seen Jessica.
Yeah. Wow.
So, sure. Yeah, that was the choices were very interesting because I could justify AD. Okay, Perfect Match season 3, right?
But they didn't even say anything about Perfect Match.
I know.
Like that's a perfect promotional opportunity to talk about Perfect Match. They did it last season with Jessica and
Izzy.
Yeah, they were used this opportunity to promote Perfect Match season 2. Why didn't we do that here? This would have been perfect. There was so many moments and choices.
That's the thing. If the production, there's all these setups for like, if the production wanted to get in juicy with Marshall, if they wanted to make these tie-ins, they could have. But either Nick and Vanessa don't know enough to like actually say those questions, or they can't for whatever reason, or have been informed not to. And then what are we doing?
Yeah, because it's like the perfect pivot for Vanessa would be like, so Marshall, last we heard from you, you were engaged.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Vanessa knows how to make exactly one pivot. And it's all right, so let's wrap this up.
Brother.
And then she thought it hit every time. She
every time.
And he didn't smile a single time.
Oh, he was pissed. He was like he had side eye the whole time for everyone. It was like he was dragged there and forced to sit in that seat.
That was the last place Ramses wanted to be. Yeah. Any point in life.
Hey, he had one golden moment. We can get to it, but
yes. Okay, so let's go through. I was glad they stuck to the couples. We weren't jumping around too much. So first they got into Ashley and Tyler.
Oh,
tell us how you really feel.
Oh yeah, let's get into it.
I mean,
Lord,
I started to think they weren't going to get into it. I started to think that they were just going to be like, y'all are happy together. Let's look back at your time together.
Enough said.
Yeah, exactly. But they did have him explain. And I mean, it does check out to what the mom said.
Does it?
How does it not?
To me.
In what way?
He did not mention that he and the baby's mother just naturally conceived those other 2 twins. There was nary a mention of that.
But here's the thing.
This was filmed before that, probably.
No, I bet she knows that. but I bet it's a situation where it's like, I was being there for my friend, we were living together, I'm helping her with the kid, you know how things go, like I was single.
No,
Like
my point is,
it's not like he was like
No,
stepping out on
but
Ashley.
it does feel like if the timeline is that the couple is already broken up and then you naturally conceive other children, then you are their father and you
right.
have kids.
That's my
Like, I
problem.
mean,
That's
you have kids when you're, a sperm donor too, but it's a little different. This is a lot more like, and maybe the truth of the matter is what Tyler is saying was completely correct. That Ashley knew all of this and was told off camera, but that they didn't really want to talk about it on the show. Whatever. I'm going to say that as outside people, I'm going to trust Ashley that she's not like lying to us now. That she at least believes that she's knows everything and she's standing by her man. And you know what? That's fine. Go
And
for it.
the reason I think it's like he has been able to explain it away with her is that it was like a situation where, okay, I helped as a sperm donor for the first child, and then for the twins, it was a situation where she wanted to be a mother. Like things happened, we agreed that like, okay, I'm not, I'm still operating in that capacity, like where I'm the uncle or whatever. I'm helping you out because she was the one that wanted. I feel like I'm not saying that it's right, or I'm not saying that like this is a good justification. I'm trying to understand Ashley's perspective and like hearing this from him and being like, okay, I get it.
so there's so much to this. I feel like the mother's video, I think this was filmed before that. That's what I
Yes.
think.
No, it was
Yes,
1000%.
it
It
was.
was. Yeah.
But the way that it's being spun here, Tyler is still trying to make us and maybe her believe that all three of these children, he did this out of the goodness of his heart and that he has no real responsibility to those children. Where the first one, we could argue that.
You could
The
make a
other two,
case.
not really. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's a big part of this. And also I put some of this at the feet of Vanessa and Nick for not drilling down more on this and talking about the fact that, calling him out on being like, well, what you saw was what we wanted you to see. Why would you want us to see you denying this kid that they've ever seen what you look like? That makes no sense
No,
whatsoever.
and that's the thing. That was funny too, because the fact that social media tried to like people like, oh my gosh, he straight up lied, and then you had the second wave of we never saw Ashley ask the question. So was it an editing trick? Was it
Oh,
an editing
please.
trick? And no, Ashley straight up admitted. She was like, no. When I asked him if they knew what he looked like, and he said no, I could tell he was lying and trying not to say it on camera.
The number of times that the contestants on this season, both on the show and during the reunion, made comments to the producers about like, yeah, well, we wanted to like hide that or lie about that to the producers, to the camera. We didn't want that to be caught on camera. We didn't want, it comes up again in the Tim and Alex conversation about it and stuff. And I'm just like, imagine having like the gall to say to the producer, like, yeah, no, we were like lying to y'all because we didn't want you to film that. If I was a producer,
Right.
I'd be like, what?
Right.
You're spitting in the face of the experiment because the experiment is supposed to be no holds barred. We're supposed to get your real thoughts, your real this, your real
And
that.
don't get me wrong, if I was a contestant, I'd be doing the same thing. I just wouldn't admit to it and say it to the
Yeah.
producers. I would do it, but I would not say it to the producers because it's like they're gonna be mad at me.
Yeah. And the fact that they Nick and Vanessa didn't dive further into this, either this was an agreement with Tyler and Ashley that they come on the show and we're not gonna dive too deep into it. We're going to talk about it. Y'all can say what you're going to say, but we're not going to come after you, right? We're not going to really hold your feet to the fire because I
Yeah,
feel
because
like they let them off
Vanessa
easy.
has done that before. We've seen
Yeah,
her energy on the reunion, and I
on the
feel
wrong
like
people.
yes, and I feel like if she had that, I feel like she would be she's the type of host we've seen that if she felt a way about this, she would have put his feet to the fire and tried to get like, okay, well, what happened with But at
Yeah.
that point, we didn't know, and we know that Ashley is saying, y'all think social media know more than me? And I think
Yeah. Yes,
no,
I do.
I do think that like we can only go off of what we're seeing, right? And I think Ashley's point of for her, this is a one in a lifetime love. Like she has dated, and it's like, look, if this situation is the worst of what I have to deal with at this moment, and we have everything else, then I'm willing to get through this with him, be understanding the situation, no matter even if like he is supposed to be like stepping in as a dad with the twins or whatever the situation is. I feel like she's at this point where it's like, look, I'm not willing to sacrifice everything else because of this situation.
Yeah, I can. Ashley has made her choices. I'm not going to go find Ashley and quote unquote talk some sense into her. Ashley's life
Good.
is Ashley's life. Go live your life. Be happy if you want. Whatever. I wash my hands of it if you decide that this is the person you want to be with these parameters. I think where I'm having trouble is the fact that it felt like we came out, we said the thing, they gave their two statements, and we're just like, all right, moving on to the next thing.
Wrap it up.
And it's not like, so what about you saying this? What about this? What about that? There was no what abouts in this.
Well, it's because of all those updates. I mean, they could have saved themselves like we could have spent like 20 more minutes on the couples themselves if we didn't have to, hear about what Marshall's up to.
Exactly. And I felt like we could have gone 20 minutes into just, why did you lie to Ashley's face? But their argument is, oh, that was just on camera. Well, why would you just lie on camera? Like, what sense does that make? It makes no logical sense.
Well, and I don't think that they were trying to say that the first time he withheld the information that she was aware. Like, I think that one was real.
Yeah. I'm talking about when she asked him, do they know what you look like?
Yeah.
He's like, nah, what? Who does that help with you lying? Like, I don't understand. I think that was just a lie.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I'm trying to protect the kid.
How does that protect the children?
Yeah, how does that protect kids?
That makes no sense. And I think at this point, Ashley is being fed what Tyler wants to feed her with the information, and she is taking that as truth. I don't know why she would, after this man has lied to you several times.
Because they jumped out of an airplane together, and that had to mean something.
Yep, exactly. So listen, I can't stick up for Ashley because I feel like Ashley has a lot of information even before the baby mother video came out, and she's still making this choice. So
right. Yeah, I don't think I think that's what it is. I don't think that Ashley is lacking in information.
Right.
I think she is making this choice from the abundance of information that she does have, and it's just, I think where people are all torn up about is it's not the decision they would make, but they're also not the one in the relationship with him. They're not the one that fell in love with him. And like Ashley is in this place where that is the man she is choosing to love, choosing to be with through the thick and the thin. And this is the thick or the thin. I don't know how that works. The good and the bad. And this is what some people are seeing as the bad.
That's a good point. I've heard that saying. I've said that saying, but I've never really thought about which is the thick, which is the thin.
Which is the thick?
What are we talking about when we say thick or thin?
Because neither sound great, actually.
Right, exactly.
One the good and one the bad.
I think that's the point of the saying. I just don't know what we're referring to. What is thick and what is thin?
Because thick would be like, oh, this is the mess. This is the thick of it. But then thin doesn't sound good.
No one says the thin of it. Like,
yeah, so it says if you support somebody through the thick and the thin, you always support or stay with them, even if their problems or even if there are problems or difficulties. But it's not saying what's thick and what's thin.
And what's the thin?
We know that.
If you know, put it in the YouTube comments.
It's like when someone's like, it's all downhill from here, but that means like,
here
it's
it is.
Bad, but like downhill sounds like a good thing, like on the roller coaster.
We call an object thick when the opposite sides or surfaces of that object are far or relatively far apart. On the other hand, we call an object thin when the opposites
This is not helping us, Aysha.
At all. I'm trying. This is what a quick Google search does.
He's just giving us the definition of thick and thin. Hold on.
If you think you know, let us know in the YouTube comments. We're not gonna spend 30 minutes of the podcast.
Oh my gosh, y'all! I'm so sorry. That was teach your preschooler about thick and thin.
That was complicated.
Okay, hold on.
language with thick and thin.
I'm going to Reddit. In the phrase thick and thin, which is the good thing and which is the bad thing?
Oh, that's perfect.
Hold on. The phrase originated as through thicket and thin wood. Oh,
Mm.
okay. So thin is good then, which was a straightforward literal description because the thicket is like a lot of wood, and then
right.
with the thin wood,
You just break it.
The thin is easier to get through.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. No, this person says thick meaning good because it was safer to be in the thickly wood area.
Oh God.
Oh, and because like an army, because if you're in the thin, then they can see you.
They can see you.
Now
Oh
this
my
is just so
gosh.
confusing.
I just love you're making your way through a thing of trees. The thinner branches would be easier to get through.
But then this person says thin is good in because there's lack of obstacles. It depends what
Right.
side of the war you're on.
So no one knows.
Clearly,
Nobody knows.
No
Nobody
one
knows.
knows.
Are you trying to escape the woods? Are you trying to hide from animals? Which is it? We don't know. But basically, it's about trees.
But
I
then
think
you
they-
have the backyard again saying into the thick of it. What does that mean?
Thick sounds bad.
Oh,
Right.
Lord. A backyardigans. Jesus. I think safe to say you've probably blown a lot of people's minds with this because I think, like all of us, we've used this phrase thick and thin and never even thought about where it came from.
Like,
And that's
just
been
saying stuff.
for the last 2 years. That's been my New Year's resolution is that when I come across like an idiom or a saying to like actually Google it, be like, what does that mean?
Yeah, because we just say stuff.
Because we just say stuff.
Yeah.
You
That
know?
sounds good.
Yeah, whatever feels right. But
Anyway.
yeah, anyway.
What
now
are we
we're
talking
gonna
about?
wrap that
What are we
up.
here for?
Well, just Ashley is sticking with Tyler through the thick and the thin, and I
More
think
power to her.
Listen,
If that's the decision she wants to make, I hope it does not come back to bite her in the butt later down the line. I would like to know, with all the revelations that came out after this, what is Tyler's role in these children's lives? Like that's what I would like to know.
And they've already spent a Christmas together, so him and
did they
Ashley
visit
and
the
the kids were
kids?
no, because they haven't
Right.
talked in a year.
So I want to know what he wants his role to be, what his role will be, if there's any.
He used to say like this is a really close friend of his. Not anymore, clearly.
Did they have a falling
Right.
out? Like we didn't.
Well,
Yeah, they had a falling
based
out
on that
because he went on Love
Instagram.
is Blind.
Yeah.
I just want them to. I regret that whole video came out after this was taped because I think if the video came out, then we would have had a little bit more ammunition to go after them with. If they would even let them go after it, I think there's a world where this video came out and Ashley and Tyler were just like, "I'm not gonna come to the reunion. Like, we're not gonna." They would have pulled it. They would have pulled a Jackie and it was just like, "Nope, not."
I
coming.
mean, they just said they're blocking people now. Ashley said that's her new hobby. And she sees him. She what really helped me see kind of like Ashley's view on, or like where Ashley is, her mom being there and being so supportive too. So I'm like, we see what it's like when you wrong somebody and their mom is there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think Ashley's mom is different than Marissa's mom.
Yeah. Vanessa, did y'all notice that if you watch with closed captions, they had to say Vanessa L and Nick L because there were other Nick. There was another Nick there and another Vanessa there.
Yeah.
So I was like, why does that say Vanessa L?
One last thing on Ashley, I'll say, and it's kind of what Aysha said, but like, I get being in a relationship. She's committed. She's chosen him. And for all we know, he's clearly given her a lot of reasons to choose him. He's clearly like they're happy. They appear to be happy in the relationship. So this one thing about the kids, which is a massive thing to most people, I just have to assume that whatever it is that they've agreed upon it in such a way where it makes sense to her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because most people would probably not just let that one go by the wayside. So
right. I think it's also one of those things where, and I'm sure we talked about this on this podcast before. It's like when you tell a friend about an argument with a significant other, and they're like, "Oh, don't go back," and then you forgive them and you've moved on. Like they've probably got like resolved so much in the past year. We're the ones sitting. Yeah, we're the friend. We're like, girl, this information though. And she's like, no, but we've dealt with that. I'm like, but
She's
we
like, it's
haven't
my life.
forgiven him.
It's my life.
Yeah.
Let me live it. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
go ahead.
If you
Go
want your
ahead.
friends to like someone, you can't tell them bad things about them because your friends will never
Right.
forget,
Exactly.
you know? So if you have a
'Cause-
fight with your family, don't tell your friends because then your friends will always look sideways just your family.
Exactly. And they're
If
gonna
you have
always be
issues with your
around.
brother, maybe don't mention it on podcast.
Right?
Because I'm like, Dave.
How was that race with Dave? Was there any tension? Was there any
No,
family
of course not.
issues?
We're the best. I did call him immediately after the podcast and be like, Dave, I'm so sorry. I have to explain myself. You haven't heard it yet.
There'll be something that comes out that you're not gonna like.
Yeah. And he was like, it's fine. Because he
Oh.
does listen and he does love is blind. So
We
Yeah,
love you, Dave.
anyway, shout out to Dave.
Shout out
We're
to
here for you,
Dave.
Dave did great. I just want to say shout out to Dave again. I know people don't care about long distance running, but like he was 9th for Team America. So
Yeah.
he did so good.
Ninth, there were people that were ahead of him. That's crazy.
I mean, he's not that good. Okay.
Oh, he did it again.
Oh man, so
We were
close.
almost out of it. We're almost out of the thick of it.
Just throwing
This
myself
is the
back
thick.
into the thick of it.
This is the thick.
Oh, I just realized I wasn't showing the pictures. We're like, if you're at the reunion, you're good, right?
Oh,
You know who these people are.
No, Mama Welch needs the pictures, Asia.
No, she's watching the reunion. I really hope she don't know with context. Okay, let's talk about Marissa and Ramses. This is still very fresh for her. Like she is very much so still healing because she immediately started crying.
Yeah, she's like, she feels like she's reliving it. It's like, yeah, it's tough. And like you said, this is almost a year after this whole thing happened, and she's still feeling this way. And I don't know.
I think the worst thing he said was like when he said like he realized every day he would be in a place of being exhausted and overwhelmed by being with her.
Yo, Mary, we didn't get your take because you weren't on the podcast last episode. So what was your feeling about the Marissa Ramses breakup last episode?
Yeah, I think what's wild is like I saw the breakup coming. I did not think it was going to be for the reasons that he gave. I love Marissa's personality, so from what I've seen on the show,
I mean, to be fair, we see episodes of these people. Ramses had to live with her, 24/7.
I know. But I guess for me, I was watching it thinking, and I feel like I'm being gaslit again by the show of them trying to be like, yeah, the reason that they broke up was because he felt overwhelmed by her personality. And I'm like, not the military stuff, not all the other ways in which they seemed incompatible. Like for me, I feel like it was clear that they were not super compatible. And then he tried to put it all in this one thing that he was feeling. And then I think the thing that hurt her the most is that it came out of nowhere to her, those reasons. And also that they are personal things about you that even if he's not saying it's bad that you're this way, he's saying, I don't see myself with someone who's like this. You're going to take it very personally when it's a personality trait of yours. But I also felt like it was very raw to watch the scene, and it was very clear that she felt really hurt. And I think in the reunion, a lot of what they were talking about was that she was just saying like, why couldn't you have tipped me off ahead of time? Like, why did it come down so late in the process and at a point where like it was a blindside to me? Whereas I think if he had kind of come forward and said, hey, it's actually because of, it makes me either wonder, okay, clearly either the military stuff and all the other little small things we saw, like wasn't actually the contraceptive stuff, like all of that wasn't actually a big deal, or it was, but they're trying to make it, I guess if it was a big deal to him, why didn't he just use those as an excuse instead?
Yeah, he had the perfect outs, and then he chose to go deeply personal. It's like, okay, you didn't need to do that.
Our vibes are off. There's just a disconnect there. You're too much. Like, ugh. Because there was also an interview. I don't know if we talked about this last week, but there was an interview that she did that she said that he also didn't like that she listened to podcasts in the morning, and that she
How dare you?
Was it that she sang in the shower? It was something that was so. Yeah, I know for sure. Listen to podcasts in the morning was something he didn't like.
I mean, like
can't relate.
That's right. That's so trivial to, number one, break off an engagement for, and number two, if it's that was booking you that much to keep it that deep inside you until 2 days before the wedding. Like you knew at like probably week 1 that this wasn't going to work after y'all got out of the pods, yet you still chose to go with it. And his part just like, yeah, I was just trying to decide. I was being, I was trying. I just wasn't sure if I could actually live with it or not. So I wasn't sure, but it's all BS. It was, and listen, they shot over to her mother. It was like, so, what do you?
Hey, girl.
You're right. The best guest star we could have gotten for this.
Yeah.
And she's like, and we find out that she was literally on her way to DC for the wedding when Marissa called her crying, devastated. And to know that her mom came to talk to Ramses that night and we don't get to see it. What? Huh? This is what I'm talking about. Like, why are you hiding stuff from us? Why are you?
Was it because it just didn't make a difference? Like it didn't change the outcome?
I didn't think whether it made a difference or not. That's something we should have seen. Now it's entirely possible that they did it after the cameras went home and there was just yes, Pepper Simmons, I know, and there was no way for them to capture it because the camera crew went home or whatever the reasoning may be. But I just feel like we should. If it was able to be caught on camera, we should have seen it. We should have known it. Whether it changed anything or not, because that is entertaining. I'm sure whatever she said to him was some fireworks.
Yeah, I couldn't even blame Marissa for saying, like, when he made that comment about being exhausted, overwhelmed, like, she was like, I think I hate him to Hannah. Because it's just like, there was
so much whispering that we got no subtitles for.
Yes.
I was like, can we get a subtitle? Like, why are you showing me whispering?
Stop showing us and letting us hear them whisper if we're not going to get close to some subtitles.
Like, what are you saying? Like, speak up.
Like, quit the other audio. What did the whisper say?
I'm over here trying to read lips. Like, what
I know. And I feel like if this was like Jeff Probst doing this reunion, he'd be like, hold on, Hannah, I see you whispering over there. Let's talk about that.
Exactly.
And Vanessa
Share
and Nick
with
are
the
just
class.
like, okay. Like, and they showed so much of the whispering.
The camera people were on it.
Yeah. The audio guys were like, I don't know. I don't know what they said.
Got no idea.
Right. Oh, and just the fact that Marissa's mom had to be like, I picked her back up. Like, that's exactly what she said to him, to Ramses at that dinner. Like, look, if you break her heart, I'm going to be the one that's there to pick her up. That's exactly what happened.
Mom was like, I wanted to punch him in the throat, but I didn't.
Yeah. He looked so exhausted. I don't know what it was. Was it exhausted?
He was around Marissa again. He got exhausted. Can you blame him?
He was defeated.
He was defeated because he knew what was coming for him. He knew what he was going to have to sit through. I'm not sure why any of these people make these decisions to come to the reunion.
They must get paid a lot.
They must get paid a lot. I'm looking at you, Ramses. I'm looking at you, Steven. Boy.
No, Steven was loving it.
Nick points out a punching bag every reunion, and it was Steven this time.
Yeah.
With Steven trying to chime in, and Nick was like, shut the hell up. We'll get to you later. Like, oh, okay. I'm not allowed to speak until spoken to. Got it.
Right. Yeah, I just felt like we later found out that Marissa and Ramses got back together after, or at least slept together.
I think they were hooking up. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Did they say that?
That's what Marissa said.
That's what I was telling you pre-show, and you were like, "What?"
She just shouts randomly at one point. She was just like, "I've been effing that dude."
I thought she meant while they were together that she was effing.
No, because they were talking about it was 100% when Nick was like,
after.
Hannah, you slid into my DMs or whatever. Like we were talking recently, and then Marissa's like, yeah, sometimes we do dumb things with our exes.
Human. Yeah,
no,
she was like, we're human. I was effing him after.
Well, no, I thought the wrong decision was effing him during the engagement. That's what I thought the wrong decision was.
No. She was talking about because Nick was trying to say, well, if I'm such a bad guy, why did she reach back out to me? And she's like, well, that happens because look what happened here.
See, I didn't take it that way. That's interesting.
I think how I felt with a lot of the people on this season, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm biased, but whatever, is it seemed like a lot of the women were like, yes, we messed up. We did dumb things. We just want you to also admit that you did that too.
And they
We,
wouldn't.
And
we
the guys
suck,
just
but they
wouldn't.
suck more. Like,
Yeah. It's like,
that's
we
what's
know we
important here.
suck. We're
No,
self-aware.
see, I saw it as we suck, but y'all suck too.
Yeah.
And y'all won't admit that y'all suck. At least we're admitting it.
Yeah, that was definitely a vibe. That was a vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, for all the hate we've been getting on the internet, give some to the men as well.
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
just Tyler.
Right. And I like how Ramses was trying to explain himself, but he was just saying the facts. He was just like, and for the condom conversation,
I know.
we had a discussion. I would never presented her with an ultimatum. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I watched you basically give her a silent ultimatum.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, and he said we figured out a solution and all this stuff. Like, okay. And he's like, I wasn't whining. Definitely looked like you were whining.
Yeah. He's like, no, don't get me wrong. I didn't want to use a condom and I didn't want to have kids. And I understand that birth control can be hard on a woman's body, but I didn't give her an ultimatum.
Yeah.
Brother. He's like, I just want you guys to understand it was hard for me too. Shut up.
Oh, yeah. Literally, when he got on that train of thought and just was trying to say, like, it was so difficult. I was so glad she was like, listen, look, it's all I. You're all like, it's all about you. It's never been about how are we gonna work through this? It's him. The vibe is off. So I think I'm done.
Yeah. It's going around a lot this season.
Oh, yeah. So anything else on Marissa and Ramses?
Not really.
I think we got it.
I was hoping an update from her would be that like she's like in a new relationship and like has moved on, but she said she's just working and stuff. Then we moved on to Zack and Bliss. We moved on to Hannah and Nick.
No, I gotta talk about Zack and Bliss because I know
why.
I know Zach. I know y'all love Zack and Bliss.
Love Zack and Bliss.
Zack and Bliss. Zack and Bliss.
They're just happy.
But Galileo, why would you do that to that poor sweet child?
Okay, what can her nickname be? Gally?
Gally?
Gal?
That's
Gal?
cute.
Leo?
Leo? Leah? Leia?
That poor baby.
Leleo?
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 I think Galileo's a cute name.
But it's Galileo. It's not even Galilea. It's Galileo. Like the guy. It's like, why? You know this child's got to be on playgrounds at some point, right? Like, you know that kids are terrible to each other. Why would you do this?
Maybe she's going to go by her middle name or something.
It's probably weirder than the first name.
Look, you realize that her mom's name is Bliss, right? Like, it's fine.
I mean, but Bliss is not Galileo, okay? Bliss is different.
I don't know. I read a fan fiction where the main character's name was Bliss once. So it was hard to get through. Can't think of anything else.
You and your fan fiction.
But Galileo, though, ooh.
Yeah.
I would never forgive my parents for that.
Look, Zack and Bliss look like they are living their best lives. They got a gift from Leanne Womack. Like, they're thriving.
Yeah. I forgot about the whole first dance thing again.
Yeah. Yeah, they painted their whole story around that. Like, they're like, let's take a look back at your journey. And it was all around that song.
It's like, remember when you were really cute in the pods? Now we're going to skip past the Irina stuff.
Yeah. No one needs to know that.
Well, those bodies so proud of themselves. They got the music rights to that song. They just can't help but play it.
Exactly. So then we did transition to Nick and Hannah, where this was a wild segment.
My favorite is when there's something like that we saw on the show, and they'll start with that. And they'll be like, let's talk about this thing that happened. And then somehow it just used that as an excuse for the people to be like, but then 2 weeks later after the show, I found this thing and let's talk about that instead. And I'm just like, whoa, okay, we're airing all the dirty laundry.
She had that agenda ready to go. She was like, I've come fully loaded, locked and loaded. This was basically Hannah's Cartman moment, right? Like, I do what I want. I do what I want. I don't care. I do what I want. Like, I think we all kind of figured that was going to be the attitude that she was going to take.
Yeah.
But for them to have to literally pry a apology out of her to be like, don't you think you were like kind of cruel? She's like, that's just who I am.
I'm just direct.
That's just
I
what
am
I
just
say.
direct.
I'm blunt. Yeah, I can be a bitch, but that's just who I am. And it's like, and everyone like just pauses on the stage, just like, so she's like gonna say sorry, huh? Like, then,
It took at least 4 hours for her to get to that apology.
yeah, and she
So
finally
she
like,
just
she's like, well, listen, I'm sorry if I was cruel to you. Okay, like, I mean, what you
I
want me to
said, well,
do?
that took a while to
That's just who I am. And for someone that just touts their maturity all over town, it just she continues to show how immature she actually is.
And I think it was so funny that like she she was trying to be like, I'm owning it. Like I'm owning that I was not good to him, that I was not nice. And then the moment that everyone starts getting at her, like, yeah, Hannah is awful. Yeah, I think it was I think it was Ashley. It was off camera, but when
Mm-hmm.
Marissa was like, yeah, no, I know Hannah was wrong. And Ashley or somebody off camera was like, yeah, I've had to get at Hannah too. It was like,
Yeah, everyone's
what's
like,
happening?
it's just like everyone raise your hand if Hannah has been mean to you. Like everybody on the stage just raises
Nick and
their hands.
Vanessa.
Yep.
They
I
said
get
we are
it.
gonna go in on Hannah.
I get it. I'm direct, but that's just who I am. Well, change who you are, because that's not good. Like we should just go around in life being like, yeah, I suck at that. I'm just owning it. No, try not to be a shitty person. Like
Yeah,
just
she said she's trying. She said she's been working on herself.
Well,
how? Show me the receipts.
current day. I mean, obviously, this reunion is as current as we're going to get with them besides social media. But she did an interview where she said, my question is, why did Nick let me talk to him that way?
Lord.
And literally, she's been getting so much flack for that because people are like, how did you spin that on him? How did he even let me talk to him that way? That's my question.
Man. I mean, and then we get into the whole like, we get into the at this point, everyone's just like, oh, poor Nick. We're just like petting him on the head like the little golden retriever, and then the unmasking happens. And of course, Hannah had both barrels loaded. She's like, found a notebook, which you were saying you want to be famous. Bam.
And it felt like it was wrapping it up, right? We felt like we're getting to the end of the segment.
Wrap it up. I get it.
That wasn't even on purpose. But he was like, Hannah's been getting a lot of hate online. I don't think she should be getting that. Like he's coming off as the good guy. And then you hear record scratch. Then why are you liking all the hate comments?
See, that's what I like. Like that's what I need more of. Like just unprompted, like just coming at you, just unprompted shots. Like, oh yeah, well, why are you liking people saying bad stuff about me? He's like, oh, and this is where it really started just going downhill. He's going downhill. We still don't know the origin of that. It's just like he's like, oh well, I mean, I just like stuff, and that's when it just all starts going. We get the notebook. I mean,
he wants to be the most famous person from Love Is Blind.
Okay, the number of times the people on the show said things like, well, I left it out. I didn't care if she read it. I clearly wasn't ashamed of it. My phone doesn't have a lock. She knew she could get in there.
Yeah.
It's like,
brother.
That doesn't, just because you're okay. Here's the thing. That's the kind of thing you only say after you get caught with something, first off. Except for Hannah. She intentionally left that piece of paper out with the list of things she didn't like about him. She wanted him to see that. But I feel like, yeah, there's always going to be people who go on these shows. I used to famously to my family, say many times, the right reasons to go on The Bachelor are to become famous. Because that's what you should be doing on a reality show. If you get lucky enough to find love, great. But with this show, we're still in the reputation of this show is that you're supposed to be going on in order to find love. And so if you say anywhere and you write it down and you leave a paper trail that your goal was to become famous, it doesn't matter how many days in advance it was, you're going to be called out for that. So there you go. For me, the biggest thing about all of this was him, Hannah came in and said, I'm going to just say I'm going to be direct and I'm going to stand by that. She did apologize one point. Good for her. But he came in going, I'm going to deny.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how many people I told certain things to. I'm going to deny. Even when every single person up here on this stage says that I said something, doesn't matter. They got no proof.
I am so glad they did not let this go.
Am I on camera with my ID up saying it? Like, then you have no case against me.
And I did agree with Garrett when he said, like, why are we still talking about this? This is childish. But then I also agreed with Marissa. Well, and I also agreed with Marissa when she said, because Hannah's been getting so much hate that we need to at least show some reasons why. And I was like, you know what? Fair point.
Fair
point.
Like,
I'm with you on that.
If I was there, I'm like, shut up, Garrett. Tell me more. Like,
right. And it's like, I'm happy and I'm in love and everything's fine with me. Can we go back to that?
Can we go back to,
you're the boring one.
If
we talk to you first, it's because we're not going to talk to you again, Garrett. That's why.
Shut up, Garrett. Now, who here did Nick tell that Hannah was a grenade? I need names. I want hands up. Let's go.
The hilarious part of it was how everyone trickled in. Like, first it was just Marissa. Then it was like, okay, Alex, like, no, I heard that too. Then Monica, come on, Nick, I heard it too, that you were not attracted to her. Then finally, Steven, Nick, you said it. And then
Ramses throwing his 2 cents in. Come on, man.
At the very end, after we've
just keep it 100. I'm trying not to say much because I don't want people jumping down my throat, but just keep it 100 like I didn't do. Just keep it 100.
Right. Just be honest. If what did he say? Now is the time. Like, if there's any time, now is the time to just be upfront.
He still wouldn't do it. He's like, okay, I said I was underwhelmed. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, it's just slowly pulling it out of him. Like, his first thing was like, I never said anything to anyone about how Hannah looked. And it's like, you said this, you said that, you called her a grenade, you said she's 5 out of 10. He's like, okay, I said I was underwhelmed.
Okay, y'all are saying things. Okay, I'm gonna back up a little bit. I'm not gonna admit to that. But I'll say a little something.
I'm gonna plead guilty to a lesser charge. Like,
right.
I'm not gonna plead guilty to the grenade or the 5 out of 10. Yeah. I'll just say I was underwhelmed. And it's just like classic, backpedaling and trying to just get out of a situation, because you could just see how caught he was. He's like, oh, I did not see this going this way at all. I thought I was going to come here and be the hero and be the person that everyone felt bad for. But I kind of applaud Hannah for bringing him down into the muck with her. She's like, oh no, I'm not going to go through this by myself. Like, you're going to come down here with me and be the bad guy along with me being the bad girl. So I applaud her for pointing that out, sticking up for it. The whole notebook thing was like, I feel like everyone is doing this for the same reasons Nick was, so I didn't feel right with them.
She posted it on her story too, her Instagram story.
Yeah, I didn't feel right for her shaming him for that, because that's what most of them are here for. That's what Hannah is here for. So it felt like she was snitching on a fellow accomplice. Like, I have proof though that you want to be it. No one has proof I want to be.
Right. I never said that out loud.
Right. And so that was the part with me. I was like, okay, that's a little petty. Like, that's a little too much. Like, they're like, yeah, me and my girls went through his stuff. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It
was out. It was turned to the page.
She's got no shame.
Yeah, none. I also couldn't get over how she shushed him. She's, shh, I'm talking.
He's like, you've been talking. It's my turn.
They are just two people not meant for each other. No, never were.
Not at all.
Never will be. And so that whole section was a mess. Like, do you think we'll see either one of them on any like future dating shows?
Oh, I could totally see Hannah on something.
Well, I think Nick would be perfect for Perfect Match. Like,
yeah.
That's his vibe. Like, I think it would be fun to have both of them on the same season of Perfect Match and see how that goes. Get those fireworks out there.
Yeah.
But I think Nick and Hannah both wanted to do this show and found themselves with not many options, and we're just like, well, I guess I'll take this one.
Yeah.
And Hannah chose Nick as lesser of two options with Nick and Leo. She's like, I guess I'll take Nick. And Nick was like, well, got nobody else. I'll take Hannah.
Yeah, I mean, and we did know, like, there were, like, they talked about, like, some transformations, like, obviously Garrett with his longer hair, Hannah, Alex, she has her hair cut. Everybody came looking dressed for the occasion. Okay. That's about it for Nick and Hannah. Anything on Leo and Brittany, besides the fact of, like, we already knew what happened. It didn't work out.
Yeah. There wasn't much here. It was what you would expect from a Leo. Who you could this is what you would expect. You should expect from people that I'll give it to Leo. He was super accountable. He straight up apologized to everyone that needed apologies. He didn't really give excuses. So this is I think a poster child of how you should take responsibility for your actions and be contrite. Be like, yep, I
Yeah.
effed up. That was me. Like my bad.
Yeah, like, yeah, I could talk about money less. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But see, and I feel like this is a great like boiling down of the type of mess I like on the show versus the type of mess I don't like. A lot of the arguments we get into with, basically all the stuff we've talked about so far between all of the people and stuff. Like to me, when it's like, oh, ooh, people's feelings are getting hurt, or people are, coming on the show for the wrong reasons to be famous or being just rude to each other. Like to me, that's not as fun. The kind of mess that Leo is bringing in the pods, that is fun to me. He's there and he's so unself-aware, and that he's talking about money so much and his Rolex, and he doesn't realize it. He's not being deliberately mean or cruel to Hannah or to the other chick he was with, Brittany. He's just a guy who feels like he's the center of the universe, and therefore goes back and forth and is trying to decide between these two girls, and it's messy, and they're breaking up and they're getting back together, and then he's claiming that that actually it was mutual and stuff. To me, that's funny. I like that. That was light. That's the enjoyable kind of relationship mess. And then you get like Monica and Steven, and you're like, really, this is just gross.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, Leo is just an unaware doof. It seems like maybe he's been made more aware, and hopefully he can make some adjustments to his personality, his behavior. I don't think he will, but it'd be nice if he did. But I don't think he's gonna. And then for Brittany, who they barely even talk to, and they were just like, so what? And for them to, it was insulting to me, honestly. And I know you two have a different perspective on this. For them to continue to lie to our faces and say, how did you all feel that you weren't picked to go to the trip? Come on now. As if they're just continuing this lie, like, oh yeah, we just chose not to send them to Cabo.
Well, because your stance is they chose not to go?
Yeah, that I think what happened is Brittany was like, I am not going to Cabo with this man. Do not send me there with him.
Why wouldn't they just say Brittany chose not to go? There's no reason to protect her there.
Because they want to make it look like it was their decision and that it wasn't someone refusing to go.
Like she just didn't pick like that. That would be like Brittany decide like he wasn't the one. I just don't see the reason for why
I think
they want to be in the power position.
I think the show would get more out of this opportunity if they sent them to Cabo and let them break up in Cabo, as we have so many times, to keep the drama and the mess going. But I think Brittany came to him and was like, I am refusing to go to Cabo with this man. I will not shoot any more scenes with him. And to save face, the show is like, well, we're just going to choose not to send them to Cabo. Like, we're like, I think that's where I'm coming from with that.
Yeah, I don't see it.
But you think a show whose job is to give us, yes, their job is to give us love couples. Let's be real. The real job is to give us drama and mess. You think they made the choice and the decision to not send Leo and Brittany to Cabo because we didn't think that they were going to make it. They've sent plenty of people knowing they weren't going to make it. Like they've done that plenty of times.
I mean, I don't know. I get, yeah. You feel very strongly about this.
I do, because they keep lying on our faces. Like, don't play in my face. Like,
I think it's just because I didn't care what, like, it didn't make a difference for me whether they were on, like, they were breaking up, period. Whether they went or not.
Because you would want to see Leo seeing Hannah for the first time and him probably saying something stupid. I think that's what the show is here for, is to give us drama.
It would have been, what was his name from Chicago? Kyle and Shayna. It would have been them all over again. They get there, they break up the first day, then they have to fly them back.
You take that risk. You take that risk
For
for
me, it's
the
just
entertainment.
considering how many couples we had break up. Like, I mean, I guess it's lucky that the other ones didn't break up in Cabo, but some almost did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alex and Tim, very close.
Yeah.
I
Well,
would have taken
okay.
a Leo and Brittany over a Tim and Alex. Like if we're swapping out people to take the Cabo.
Well, speaking of couples who broke up, Steven and Monica. I didn't even get the point of what Steven was trying to accomplish here. Like he was trying to come off so like okay and like overconfident and just like, yeah, I messed up.
Well, he takes the stance of like he's trying to take accountability in the first place. He's like, "Yep, messed up. It was wrong. Shouldn't have done it." Blah blah blah. And then he gets into the, "But no one wants to listen to my side."
Yeah.
You have no side.
No matter what I say, no one wants to hear me out.
There's
Why are
nothing you
you
can
pouting?
say.
Why are you pouting?
Take your lumps and shut up. Like, don't try and save or salvage this. Like, you were
I'm
wrong.
so confused.
Come out here and admit it and be done with it.
Yeah, it was interesting because I feel like we barely heard from Monica in this whole situation. He tried to justify the text by, "Oh, I don't know what the text say. I deleted them."
I deleted them. And it's
But then
like,
later said,
Then
"Oh,
later
well,
said I
she
never
said,
delete my texts. Also,
Yeah.
just man.
he deleted them this time because he was so
Yeah.
ashamed of what he did. And
So
also,
they were probably a little weird, or at least a little weird to be doing while
But then
you're in a relationship.
he claims he couldn't remember what they said, but then he says, "Well, okay, she said something about a heart condition." And then I replied to that. And then she said, "Well, then she brought up fetishes." And so then I was like, "Oh, okay. Oh, so now you have the text log
right,
in your mind?"
that sort of stuff happens all the time. We go
Yeah.
right from
Natural transition.
medical issues to here's my kinks for the week. Like, no, that's not a thing that happens. And he goes, I always leave my phone not password protected because I know if I'm doing something wrong, I should be caught. And they were like, dummy, just don't do stuff wrong and you won't have a problem. It's like, it's just, that's the mindset he's in, to be like, I deserve to be caught if I'm doing something bad. So you're saying there's a chance you will be doing something bad to get caught for.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
boy, he didn't do himself any favors. Yeah, I think it's all about the paycheck. He's like, you're gonna pay me how much to stand on a stage and be berated? I think the berating could have gone on a lot longer, but we had other fish to fry, so we only spent like a few minutes on them because it's a pretty cut and dry case. Like,
Yes.
you text cheated, so you're done. Like, and that was.
I kind of wanted to hear more about like, could they have did they think it could have worked if he had not done this?
Yeah, I think she just said something about like she thankfully was spared more relationship because I guess there's probably more that came out after that of some of his issues, but.
And the fact that she said, she was like, the fact that he admitted to cheating in the pods, and she was like, okay, I have dated a lot of cheaters who didn't admit it. So at least that's a good sign that he's admitting it, which is the problem with today's culture is a lot of people think like, oh, if I'm going to be open and honest about the things that I've done, then that's like fake transparency. Because it's like people being open and honest about their past transgressions. They don't think they were wrong, but they're just like, oh, well, at least I told you. That's not stopping them from doing it in the future.
Yeah.
It's like if you're constantly having to apologize for doing things, that's great that you're apologizing. But how about work on like not having to do the things that you're apologizing
Right.
for?
Exactly.
Yeah. So another one bites the dust with them. Alex and Tim.
Wow, this I didn't expect that this segment to be so charged, but it really was. It was right up there with the Hannah and Nick stuff.
It really was because of him. He literally wouldn't take any accountability for, like, it was every time she brought up the fact that he met her parent. Here's the facts. He met her parents, or he met her dad. Yeah, and he met her mom. But he got her dad's blessing. That night, they went to dinner, and he said he was having doubts. The fact that she brings that up and is like, why did you do that if you were already having doubts? Well, you fell asleep on my parents. 2 days later.
Yeah,
I
and
fell asleep after because I had to work a shift in 2 hours and I spent all day talking to your parents and I wanted to take a break before I had to go to work.
we got so much more context for everything.
Yeah.
We got more context with the verbal argument they got into on the getaway. Like she was talking about her dad was in poor health. He had been going to a rehab facility. She was upset and crying about that, and he was trying to comfort her. And I guess that spiraled into something because it's the way they made it sound like on the show when it happened was like she was just being out of pocket, outrageous. He was coming at her with like the hey, like is everything okay? Let's
Right.
calm down. But it sounds like from whatever, and it's not really made clear. But it sounds like from whatever happened, Tim was yelling, screaming, and she, when they say she put her hand on his mouth, it was just like, "Hey, shut up!" But it was more like, "Shh!" Like I don't want them
I
to
don't
hear
want
us arguing
production to think
because
they have to come film this.
yeah, it wasn't like it was like a shut the hell up. It was like a shh, like they're gonna
I
hear
thought
us. I don't
she
want them to hear us.
grabbed his lip.
Right? Yeah, yeah, that's what it made it sound like.
And like I understand like people just have lines that are like you can't cross that. But he mentioned so many times like she called me something other than my name.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "Oh, what'd she call him? Must have been really bad."
Yeah.
Look, I get it. You don't want to call your fiance a little bitch. I get it. That's not great. But like, were you being a little bitch? Maybe that's why she called you that. And like after everything,
you exhibit bitch behavior. You get deserve to call it a bitch. Like that's just what happens.
And to clarify, I guess what I'm saying is, it's like they're in an argument. They're fighting. They're saying negative things. I do not condone saying like, I mean, don't get in a fight with your loved one. Don't be yelling. Don't be calling each other names. That's bad. But it's just funny to me with the lines people draw where they're like, no, I can yell at you. Like we can be belligerent to each other. We can have this fight. But oh, you call me a name? That's the line.
And I think
like, wasn't he the one that kept saying he was a dog anyway?
Okay. All right.
Oh,
all right,
that took
Aysha.
you a second.
Okay. Cool. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, don't do that. Like, it's not good. It doesn't bode well for
Right.
your relationship if you're putting your hand in front of their face or if you're calling them a little bitch. Don't do that. It's not great. It's not good. But
Well, I
it's
think
just funny that I was like, I definitely thought it was gonna be a lot worse than that.
I
I think that's
too.
the mindset. That's the mindset of people like Tim, who is this kind of like quote unquote alpha masculinity. Calling them a bitch is like that is just like one of the worst things you can do to a man. How dare you?
He acted as if
call me
she
a bitch.
called him that at that moment too. Like he got re-mad all over again.
Yeah, because she said the word bitch. Because she admitted to what she said. He was like, and you just did it again.
Yeah.
Like,
have you learned nothing?
right. Like I'm just stating what was said. Because I really don't think he wanted her to reveal what
He
what
didn't.
she said. Like it would be shameful to find out you called me a bitch. My boys would never let me live it down if they knew I was called a bitch and you revealed it on television. Because his thing was just like, she called me out my name. Like, and I love Vanessa's like, finally speaking for us all, like, what did she call you? What is this thing that you like? It's just so unforgivable that she called you. She's like, I called him a bitch. She's like, oh my god, like oh,
He
wow.
said, and he was like, and y'all want men to respect you.
Oh, man.
When did this turn into a man versus woman?
This was quite a revelation about Tim. This whole thing. Okay, I see what school of thought you're coming from now. I'll treat you like a queen. I'll do this and that for you. That was all just a smokescreen for the nonsense we see here. The nonsense we've seen from people, like he's more of in a Clay camp from Clay and AD than we ever realized. So it's just like, okay, the mask has fallen. We know who you are now.
And if you have not heard from Clay since Love is Blind, his season, please go check out his TikTok because this man posted a TikTok of him watching Marissa and Ramses break up, and he was like, and that was literally the whole TikTok was him fake being sad about this scene that he set up the camera to record him watching the TV.
Clay is still out here embarrassing his mama, and he should be ashamed.
Oh gosh. But yes, back to Tim. She said, "You act like I killed your dog."
For real though.
Okay.
For real.
And here's the thing. I don't particularly identify with either of them at all, but Those words, I don't know if they've come out of my mouth, but they've been in my head before. When you're like, look, I get it. We're not compatible. We may have had some arguments, but why are you acting like I cheated on you or I killed your dog? I've literally thought that. Like, why I don't even have a dog. Like, why am I like? Why do I think that? But that's always what comes to mind. It's like you're acting like I'm a villain. We're just not
Yes.
my dude. It's fine.
It's just like, and then we started getting timelines wrong. He's like, you went out the night before. I think she thought he was talking about the night before she met his parents.
It's because he was saying so much. The way that it sounded was that he was saying the night before, like he was trying to, because they were talking about the nap. So he's like,
Yeah.
well, you went out the night before with blah, blah, blah. She went out the night before he met her parents.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
the night before she met his parents.
And it just got
that's
to a level.
semantics.
Yeah, it got to a level where they were speaking over each other, so neither one of them knew what the other one was talking about
Yeah.
because they're just getting timelines wrong. And she's trying to explain that, he I think what she thought he said was that she went out the night before she met his parents, which is why she
Yeah.
was so tired. And she's like, no, the night before we met your parents, we just went out to dinner.
Yeah.
And then like it was a normal day. And like to hear her explain it is like, okay, we more than get why she needed a nap. Like we understand.
Yes.
She worked all day, and then
And
she
it
was
was
gonna
her
go
first
work
shift
again.
back.
She was gonna work again that night. So she wanted to take a quick nap before she went to work the second time in the last 10, 12 hours. We get it. We understand. But it's just unforgivable for him. And I liked how when she pointed out the whole like doubts thing, like, why would you pull my family into this? He's basically just like, you asked me to do those things. You asked me to talk to your dad. Yeah, she asked you that because she thought you were all in on this. Like she thought you
Right.
were down to ride. Like she wouldn't have asked you that if she knew you were having these doubts. And he just tries to pull it back on like, that's what you wanted me to do, so I did it. It's like,
Yeah, literally.
like, no, bro, like you're not getting it. And it's like, I like she's like, you played in my dad's face, and he really did.
He did. And he's like, he kept trying to make the case that he met her dad because she wanted him to, but then she couldn't return the same respect that he wanted her to meet his parents and like be present or whatever. Like it was a certain point he was over there literally rolling his eyes at her.
You couldn't believe how wrong she was. She is so wrong. She's so terrible. We're all just like, bro, are you listening to this? Are you hearing yourself, what the situation is? I think he's out of touch with reality of what is really going on here. Because,
yes. And even watching it back didn't help him.
No, not at all. Because she was like, I spent 4 hours talking to your people. Like, I don't deserve a nap for that. Like, I can't get away from them. We have nothing else to talk about after 4 hours. What are you talking about? He was just like, he just wouldn't respond to anything that made sense.
Yeah.
When she made something that made sense, he would just put it back on her. Like, you went to sleep, nap.
I'm just glad she said the point about like he projected such hate on her when she's like, why?
Right.
And he couldn't, and you slept on my parents.
Yeah. The reaction does not match the offense.
Yeah, which is a red flag.
Yes,
yeah. Girl,
exactly.
You're out of it. It's like, and that's the thing. Yes, they're not compatible. And there are things that she did that were not great. A lot of people in the comments of that when that happened were like, well, if someone took a nap when my parents were in town, I'd be upset too. That's fine. That's great. You know what? Cool. Then you're not meant to be together. That's fine. But the way he is talking to her, even in the moment, saying things like, I never want to see you again. You're blah, blah. It's like,
right.
What?
Yeah. And I'm glad we'll never see each other again. And then Vanessa, well, okay. Maybe y'all need to talk privately. I don't need to talk privately to her.
I'm like, Vanessa, what do you think we're here for? Like, let them squabble all day and y'all edit out the parts I don't need to see. Like, it's y'all's fault. It's y'all's fault you have a whole studio audience here that's probably bored to tears. Let them fight for 4 hours and you give me what I need. Like that's
exactly
because that's what we're here for. We're here to get to the bottom of stuff, not like y'all talk all this privately. No,
what?
Get out of here. Yeah. I can tell was like, I don't need to talk to her ever again. I'm good.
Look, she's so much better off because the way that guy,
I feel so bad for every nice thing I said about him in the beginning of the season. Right. Because I was snowed. I was like, oh, he seems so mature and nice and put together and he's saying all the right things.
I really feel like Love is Blind knew what they were doing with this. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna make them fall in love with these people, and then we're just gonna just yoink, pull the rug out right from under them."
Yes.
Because we don't, this isn't our usual feeling. We've usually gone into the second batch of episodes knowing that we got some knuckleheads on our hands here, but we came into this as like, okay, like these guys seem okay, and they're just like, nope, like psych.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Whew. Yeah. So that naturally got my blood boiling. I was like, I'm not Alex. let me chill out. But I felt for her because that was so annoying. So yeah, then we got, all the updates that we talked about up front. The only one shout out to Nancy. We went to college together, so she's living her big life.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But bro, what is she doing here? Why are you here?
To give us an update.
Who called you to come here?
Now?
Did you
Why
call
did we not see? I understand if you have not soft launched. I understand no, she has soft launched plenty. Like we know she's in a relationship based on social media, but she has not hard launched. But the fact that the show kept that, like they're like, okay, we're not going to show him at all. We'll show random people in the audience.
Did Nancy call Netflix, or did Netflix call Nancy? Is Nancy like, I am loving this season, I just want to be in the audience for the finale, like I'll say whatever y'all want? Or is Netflix just like, Nancy, you want to come and hang out?
Nancy,
like the heck?
I
Like
don't know.
What was this for?
Right. We did see Fong and Tom, who are Taylor's parents, and this is the segment where we learned that they decided to stay in DC rather than go back to San Diego. I have seen a few people's opinions about this online of just like that this was not a compromise because Fredericksburg is like an hour.
Fredericksburg's like, it's like you have to drive through some traffic. It could take like an hour and a half to get to DC.
Right, but like San Diego.
Yeah. It's like Fredericksburg to DC.
Right.
DC to San Diego.
A compromise would have been like Texas.
But if you're in DC, you're closer to the airport.
Go across country to San Diego.
Great point, Mary. Great point.
They're cutting like an hour off their journey to the airport. Boom. Made it work.
I mean, for the reason, like, I just can't leave my mommy. Like, bro, how old are you? Like, my God.
Hey,
he said it.
You're saying the same things that Hannah said to Nick.
I mean, listen, Hannah didn't say no lies. She said them terribly. She said them terribly, but she didn't tell no lies.
Yeah, Hannah is direct and honest.
She's blunt. I'm just blunt, okay? I'm just being blunt. That's just who I am.
Yeah, I feel like the whole where they're living thing, that's between them. And I do feel like the one point that I'd give him is you're on a show called Love is Blind set in DC, and then you want to instantly move across the country. Kind of feel like that's a big deal. Now he probably did know that up front in the pods, but still.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
there's a reason that they do these things.
Yeah, if that's their biggest issue, then
their problem. Then and it's not even a problem because Taylor
doesn't have an issue with it.
No, sounds
like I miss my family, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. Like we knew that Taylor had tons of friends and stuff in DC because they were all there.
Yeah, exactly.
For wedding and stuff.
Never heard of me like I was gonna leave DC, but then the show approached me. Like the show approached you. Like we got people out here like Mary auditioning to be on this show. Meanwhile, y'all are just like picking Instagram people like, hey, you want to come on the show? And Mary's application just sitting there.
No, you know what?
Who's reached out to, and he's not an Instagram person or anything. He was like, Aysha, I know you podcast about this. Should I? I was like, no.
A friend, right?
You know what? I'll tell you this. The casting company did follow me on Instagram. Recently though, so not like it doesn't really help.
Well, maybe not for your application, but from the podcast, maybe. Possibly. Like that girl looks so familiar. I don't know why.
Probably. It's fine. Look,
season 10. Maybe they're coming to.
Imagine me on this season. Who would I have been having beef with at the finale? Literally any of these people. Or I'd be off married to Nick. Because I wouldn't be able to be direct.
Oh my gosh. Please don't go on the show.
No, please do.
No. Anything else from the reunion? I think we've touched it all.
We didn't really touch much on the within the Hannah and Nick segment with the Katie of it all, where Katie's like, Hannah, I'm so sorry if you took any offense. It's like, no, Katie, you're fine. Hannah was the one being crazy, and Hannah, she didn't apologize to anybody else, but she apologized to Katie. She's like, Katie,
Yeah.
my bad. We're
Right.
good. I trust you. I trust you.
That's what's always weird, though. It's like they've clearly already made up and been friends for like a year.
A year.
Exactly.
Why are we hashing this back out?
Katie needed her moment. Okay, she needed her moment on the reunion. That's the whole reason she's here.
The fact that I was like, who is sitting between Ashley and Marissa's mom? I was like,
hugging Marissa's mom at one point.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, who is this random
forever.
person? I was like, they keep cutting to this couch as if we should know the person in the middle.
Oh,
I knew it was Katie. I knew it was
I
her.
didn't.
I did have one more thing to say about Ramses. When he's just sitting there, crossing his arms, staying out of it, and finally the girls break down so much and they're like, you were the one that Nick was talking to, saying the negative. Can you admit it? And then he just turns to Nick and he goes, there's a time to just admit it, like, and air it out. And it's just like, oh, even your boys don't got you, Nick.
They're like pointing to Ramses, like, speak now. You have tons to make up for. He's like, it's like I'm trying to keep my head down and trying not to be noticed. Like, and I love how Nick.
The only guy who didn't. Like, go ahead.
No, but Nick came into this like, my brother's got me. My bro's got me. No one's gonna rat me out. And then everybody just one by one's like, all right, yeah. Like,
I heard it.
Yeah, I heard it. Definitely heard it. You definitely said.
I feel like Tyler was the only like guy who kind of got out of like really saying anything about that. I don't remember him being like, "Yeah, Nick, you did say it."
Yeah. I don't know.
So. All right.
I think we got it.
Yeah. Thank y'all so much for sticking with us this season. We made it, y'all, for like 4 weeks. Yeah.
So we didn't rate or rank anything. Where is this coming in at overall on the Love is Blind season ranking list?
I kind of will gauge it based on who do I care to like follow on social media and kind of keep up with. And I would say they're up there. Like, I would care to see like the progress of the relationship with the two married couples and some of the singles that I would care to see like what happens with them. Like Marissa has a very big presence on TikTok. So I guess it's mostly the women. I don't care what Steven's up to. So I'm just like, I think it's of the 8 seasons, it's top half for me. Maybe like 4.
7 seasons, but okay.
Oh, 7 seasons.
We haven't seen the 8th yet. I mean, do you want to follow Ashley and Tyler's relationship just to see them fail? Just to see if they
it's going to be
in the end?
Well, I mean, my algorithm is already on updating me about them
constantly. You're just stuck with them.
Yeah.
I would put this solidly at the top of the bottom half.
Yeah.
I'd put it at 4, I think, right in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
For me. Mostly because there are seasons that I know I liked more, and then there's several I don't remember right now.
Right, like if I can't
I want to get into a big ranking, but I don't have that in me right now.
Next time, you know what? We'll say next season we'll come in, we'll have our rankings ahead of time.
This is something we can do off the top of the head. Who was your favorite couple you were referring to last week, Jason?
Okay, yes. So Taylor and Garrett. Are they in your top 3 couples?
I would say they're number 3.
Okay.
Oh, from the show as a whole?
Like,
from
all 7
franchise.
seasons.
I like them. I think they're kind of, gosh, all the successful couples are so bland though, for the most part. I mean, in a good way. In a good way. They don't have drama, is what we mean. You know.
I think my top 3 as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor and Garrett at number 3.
Okay.
Brett and Tiffany are number 2.
Yes. Yeah, they're my number 2.
And of course, Lauren and Cam.
Okay, what were you messing with me last week?
I feel like 3. I put Zack and Bliss at 3.
See, that's what I was going to say.
I think they're more interesting than Taylor and Garrett. I'm sorry.
Asia, you were so in love with Zack and Bliss last season. I just wasn't sure if they cracked the top 3. Or if they stole your number 1 spot. So I wasn't sure if
over Cameron and Lauren.
I didn't know.
I might put Zack and Bliss at number 2, honestly.
Over Brett and Tiffany?
But just because they're a little more interesting, like in terms of the show. Like Brett and Tiffany are great, but they gave us
great TV. Like They did. Meanwhile, Brett and Tiffany didn't give us much, but
They gave us nothing. They're just sweet.
they're just so dang cute together. Like
They are. I do love them together.
Yeah, and
So
he's
I think it's about like if you're talking about which ones you're following now versus which ones you enjoyed watching on the show. Go back and forth.
Well, I don't follow none of these
Yeah, that's a good point. I will say Zack and Bliss are like number 2 for me. And then
who else is even
Cameron
up there?
and Lauren.
Are there what are the other successful couples?
Well, we got
Besides
Kwame and
Amber
Chelsea.
Kwame
I
and
don't think anyone's. I don't think they're in anyone's thing.
Are
Matt and
Matt and
Colleen.
Colleen still together? Yeah.
Yeah, apparently. Alexa and Brennan. I think some
I forgot
people
about them.
will put them in their top 5, probably.
Yeah, I think they're probably like right below Taylor and Garrett for me.
Yeah.
Don't forget Colleen and Matt.
Yeah,
we said Colleen and Matt.
Oh, okay. I finally have the list in front of me.
Okay. Do we miss anyone?
Chelsea and Kwame. Yeah. Milton and Lydia.
They're still together?
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Amy and Johnny.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember anything about Amy and
season.
Johnny. Sorry, last season's a blur for me. I really that's a rough one.
But yeah, if you can name off the couples that are still together, that is wild because that's sad. It's seven seasons. But yeah, Lauren and Karen. So
in a lineup, Amy and Johnny would have been the one I would have forgotten, and they're the most recent one.
Yeah,
I think if I saw them, I would know them. But
so
I mean, I'd recognize them, but I would not be able to tell you whether or not they actually got married or stayed together or anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Well, here's a comprehensive list. Season 1, Lauren and Cameron, Amber and Burnett. Season 2, nobody. Season 3, Dallas, Alexa and Brennan, Colleen.
I thought you were saying Dallas. I was like, who's Dallas?
Season 4, Seattle, Bliss and Zach, Chelsea and Kwame, Tiffany and Brett.
Our biggest success.
Wow, that's the biggest season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Season 5, Houston, Milton and Lydia. Season 6, Charlotte, Amy and Johnny. Season 7, Ashley and Tyler, and Taylor and Garrett.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah. I think for sure I've got my top 5 locked in. The order might fluctuate with time, but yeah. So I think unfortunately Ashley and Tyler not hitting that top 5.
No.
Fair to say.
No. And I think I'd say that Taylor and Garrett are probably around 4-ish.
Top 4 at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the very least. But yeah. You're right. I needed to be reminded of that. My firm top 2 that are going to remain unchanged no matter what. Cameron and Lauren. Zack and Bliss.
Yeah.
No matter what? No one can unseat them? You don't think Alex from Minneapolis is going to come in and just win your heart?
Not at all.
No.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for sticking with us. We had a blast talking about this season. Make sure you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed where you could get all of the podcasts from this season. Go subscribe to the RHAP YouTube channel where you can see us on YouTube. If you've been listening audio only, make sure you go leave us a 5-star rating and review over on the Love at First Sight feed. We'd love to hear what y'all think about the podcast, what you like about it. So yeah, Jason, where can people keep up with you?
You can find me at JAYR1085. You can catch me podcasting about many things on this feed right here. You can catch me on Married at First Sight, talking about that show with the one and only Aysha Welch. On our podcast, Perfect Match, we just had a quite interesting interview with one of the experts on Married at First Sight, Pastor Cal. If you know that show, you know who Pastor Cal is. He's a big part of the show. Me and Aysha, she just interviewed him. It should be out pretty much around the same time this comes out. So check that out. Again, last time for this season, I will say, if you enjoy Love is Blind, we think you'll enjoy Married at First Sight. Come on over. You already know me and Aysha. You know we got it. You know we got it popping. You'll have fun. It's entertaining. Give it a shot. Give it a try. What's the harm? What's the problem? What's the harm?
What do you have to lose, honestly?
What do you have to lose? Also, you can catch me on The Good Pod with my co-host Marissa Garza as we rewatch The Good Wife and talk about the show Elsbeth. So if you like either of those things, catch me there as well.
All right. Mary, what about you?
What about me? Sorry, I got distracted. My Ring doorbell kid just came and took the entire rest of my bowl of candy.
Oh, yeah, y'all. Mary made us do this podcast during Halloween because she hates children.
I should have taken the candy bowl in. He'd take the entire pillowcase, puts it over the bowl, boom, in there. And he's not even dressed in a costume. This is a teenager with a mask on.
Call the cops.
Well,
My
wow.
porch lights
Okay.
are
They
off.
needed to take that candy out of my house because I was eating it all week. And don't think that I didn't take out the best pieces and bag them up for myself, so it's fine. Nothing to complain about. And you know what? He left the bowl. So really,
That's good.
Yeah.
you know,
At least he
it's
has
fine.
decency.
Decency. What have I been up to? Struggling through things, making costumes, all kinds of stuff. If you want to check out the spooky scary Big Brother Brant Steele over on RHAP on YouTube, I cosplayed as Bella Swan from Twilight. It was pretty fun. Feel free to check that out for some gems. It didn't help that the host had clearly no clue who I was or what I was doing, but it was very fun. It was very fun. So if you want some deep cut Twilight references, it's chock full of them.
Awesome.
Nice.
And y'all can follow me on all social media at Aysha like Asia. That's AYSHA like ASIA. Jason stole my plug. So yeah, that's where you can find me covering Married at First Sight these days. We had a great time talking to Pastor Cal, so I can't wait for y'all to see that. So go check that out. And yeah, we heard that Married at First Sight, or not Married at First Sight, Love is Blind, season 8 in Minneapolis will drop Valentine's Day. So if you subscribe to the feed, you won't have to remember to come back and see if we're covering it, because you'll be on the feed and you'll see that we're covering it and you'll get the podcast there. So thank y'all so much for sticking with us this season, and we'll see y'all next season. Bye.